Good day, everyone. And how about that meditation? Welcome back. I have a manager, and he asked me, Curt, you shouldn't put the meditation thing in the beginning. You should put it at the end. And I said, well, I'm getting a little tired of that long introduction in the beginning anyway, so I'm just taking the place of that. These things are very necessary. You're going to feel the benefits after you stop thinking about it. Once you stop thinking about it, you will begin to realize that they were beneficial simply because, trust me on that, doctors and therapists and everybody in the world says that meditations are beneficial. I know how beneficial they are for me simply because I'm a spiritualist. For those who don't know me, I am Curt Williams, the spiritual guru. And the first time I ever meditated, I meditated in a group of 30 people. And it was day one, and a very profound sort of psychic event took place. So much to the point where the then teacher disbanded the class after the next day and took me one-on-one because he felt I was a prodigy. So, and I mean, that was the first time I ever sat there and ran my energy and took a deep breath. Automatically I started, actually it was aromatic. I started smelling things that was in the mind of another student. And so I know how beneficial these things are. I've been able to heal myself from things that I should not have been able to heal myself from. And that's not just propaganda. These are all things that you can do to yourself and for yourself just to see. Anyway, so I like to explain to you about all the benefits of being a spiritualist, of being able to contact and communicate with your spirit and how your spirit will communicate with you. I'm on the level, I call myself a spiritualist simply because I'm not somebody who just listens to their spirit. I've taken the thing to another level when I confessed to my spirit that I am here to follow it and not the other way around. We all, 99% of all people believe it's the other way around. They're in their brains, they're in their psyche, they have no idea that the spiritual side of them is the most important side because it is the side that lives forever. Again, it is here to help you learn things that would benefit it. It is a piece of the Creator. The Creator is expanding. The way the Creator expands is by having avatars like us screw up stuff and come up with crazy, goofy stuff. And the Creator says, wow. And every time he says, wow, the universe gets bigger. He's edifying himself. A being that knows everything is very difficult for it to learn because it believes it knows everything. But what it doesn't know is how beings with free will act if you give it to them. That's our purpose. That's why we're here. He decided that if he takes pieces of himself and edifies them pieces, then he expands. That's the whole purpose. Now, I heard a discussion about Geno Jennings, a great preacher in Christianity, and he was debating with a Muslim. And they were going back and forth about no one knows what God looks like. And I beg to differ. They're just not approaching it in the right way. Or they don't have the same opinion of God that I do. I understand what they were trying to represent. I understand that Geno Jennings has to find a scripture that says otherwise, and the Muslim minister was just going by the standard, the conceived could never conceive the Creator. And that has some truth to it. However, there are some ways that even Stevie Wonder can figure out how something looks simply by the tactile touch, or what they call the braille tactile touch, or even the description, physical descriptions. And if you describe to Stevie Wonder what something looks like, and all of a sudden he was able to see again, it might look different than he thought, but that's only because, but still he would have a picture. He would have some kind of description, some kind of measure of what that looks like. Now, what we can do is we can tell by what the Creator does and what it is, by some kind of measure, what he looks like. That's when I tell people, I said, you don't have the ability to see all of the Creator, but you do have the ability to see some aspects. And when I say you see some aspects, it's everything in the sight, in the line of your vision is a part of the Creator. You have to conceptualize the Creator is as the Creator does. It creates. So everything that it creates is a partial description of who it is. We don't have the ability to put that all into one picture. But if we could do that, that would be what the Creator looks like. And we live inside the mind of the Creator. So when you do walk out on a starry night, somebody described a starry night in Arizona on a mountain. I was raised on a mountain in Arizona. When I say raised, I mean you go there for the summers. So I went there for the summers to a city called Magnolia, Arizona, and stayed there. And Magnolia is 200 miles from Phoenix, and it's like you're so far away from lights that all of the stars look like they're right in your face, and you have no idea how many stars up there. It's immeasurable. So I describe to people, this is the Creator from the inside out. Now, we can't see very far, so we can't see very far into the Creator. We can not see very far, so we don't see all the colors, we don't see all the, imagine being able to see, we see in 3 dimensions, but imagine if we were able to see in 4 dimensions. They say that you would be able to see the insides of people. I think that's an odd description. I think you would be able to see from the top down. I think that would be a 4th dimension, but they say you would actually be able to see somebody's organs. Or I would think I think you can see in 4 dimensions if you put a mirror behind somebody and you angle it to where you're seeing the back of that person. That's another dimension, isn't it? And then you can angle some more mirrors so you can see from top down. That's another dimension, isn't it? So anyway, I believe we can see in several dimensions. However, like I said, they were having a discussion about you can't see and I believe that you can if you are spirituals. Now, as I say, a spiritualist, in my opinion, is somebody who has surrendered his life to do what his spirit wants him to do. So this whole notion of this show is about learning how to communicate with your spirit. It's about learning your spirit's language. It has a language, and what I mean by a language, it has a variety of ways that it communicates with you, and it knows exactly how to communicate with you. But sometimes it's very slight on purpose because it wants you to also learn how to listen. If you cannot listen, then you're not, he might judge you on how well you can listen. When you do listen, when your spirit does tell you things, first thing you want to do is give gratitude. You want to say thank you. And so, because that's how it feels like, hey, now we're right here. We're here. So I thought that I had a communication from my spirit last week, and this is a time when I'm about to tell how some of these spiritual stories go. When you allow your spirit to control what goes on in your life, the information comes in different ways, and I thought I got a download. I thought I got a primer, a situation where my spirit said, "Okay, Curt, we're fixing to do something," and it was because I had noticed that there's a big interest right now in the singer Luther Vandross, and so the thing about it is, he's got a documentary coming out and all this and that and other. And really, since the time he passed, they really haven't had anything on this particular singer. So I started thinking about him a little more than usual. And so I said, well, you know what? See, what Luther Vandross and I have in common is the fact that I explained to you in another episode, I was a singer and I was going to be slated to be the next Teddy Pendergrass. And so after he had his accident, and so all those things were set up, and then along came Luther Vandross. Well, when Luther Vandross came out, everybody else kind of needed to go sit down. And so that's what I have in common with Luther Vandross. He kind of erased the necessity. And he did it in a very brilliant way. So I said, because of all this excitement about Luther, maybe I should go and sing some Luther Vandross songs. I mean, somewhere. Wouldn't that be nice? And the thing about life for black people, especially, not just black people, but for black people especially, is that years ago, 20 years ago, the music that we had then, the love music and with the love stories, it made life was just different. I'm not putting down rap, but rap is very intense. Well, there was a time, even in the 60s and in the 70s and the 80s, where they had everybody aspired. With those songs, men were able to teach young men how to approach a woman. It never worked for me. I told a girlfriend of mine one time, I'm listening to Isaac Hayes begging on a song, and I told her, I said, you know what? I don't care how much he begs, women do not care about a man begging about nothing. They don't care about them songs. They don't care what he's saying. They will dump him anyway. And she said, that's not true. He won't. No, we do. Women, we do listen to it. And we do take it serious. It means a lot to us. Next thing you know, she dumped me and I never saw her again. I was like, see, I told you them songs didn't work. I wrote 2 songs about her. It don't work. But anyway, it was at least a better time because they have this new thing on YouTube right now. It's called The Reaction Show, where they take a lot of young people and they are showing them some of those love songs for the first time, and they're getting their reaction, and some of the reactions are quite extraordinary. I'm a man who prides himself because I don't cry. I don't cry at sad things. I don't cry at funerals, somebody passes away. But I was crying like a baby when I was sitting here watching these young people become impressed over the kind of people that we love to hear. I mean, this one girl, she saw, I think her name is Ashley, she watched Lenny Williams sing, I Love You in the song, and she almost lost her mind. She had to stop the thing 3 or 4 times. And the whole thing's like, if a man ever talked to me like that, so basically what I'm trying to say is, our lives as a race of people right now, as an ethnicity of a people, is so after the election and everything, it's almost like we got our heart broke. And we kind of, I think we kind of need, it would be great if we had those kinds of songs to come back and listen to. And so I said, this might be a sign. I think Big Curt would communicate with me by all this going along, and he would probably say, Curt, you need to go sing some Luther songs somewhere. So I said, okay. I get the message, I get the feeling. So I have a cousin. His name is Teddy. Now, I look at Teddy on Facebook, and Teddy is at all of these stepping dances where you have the people doing the stepping and it looks real smooth and they're spinning and they're doing this stuff. I took a stepping class. That stuff is hard to learn. It really is. I mean, it might not be hard. They'll tell you it's not hard, but those are all people who get it. Well, I was out there, I didn't even know I had two left feet. I was trying, anyway. I didn't take to it that quickly, or maybe I didn't hang in there long enough. But the thing about it is, my cousin is always filming these beautiful and wonderful events where these people are doing these dances. Now, the problem with that is everybody there knows how to do the dance, and they're just waiting for their turn to do it. But there's a lot of people like us who don't know how to dance like that, and we like to just come and watch. But you can't go and watch steppers, because what they're going to do is think you're a stuck-up stepper. They're going to, why don't you get up? And you get tired of explaining to people you don't know how, because all they're going to do is try to teach you, and then you're going to be over in the corner, and they're going to be, you're still not going to learn nothing. So anyway, there are some people who would like to just go watch. There's a lot of men who would like to go just to look at the women. Yeah, I don't dance, baby, but I'll take you to dinner, So there's a lot of people, in my opinion, who would love to hear some of that music come back. And I said, okay, I'm going to get my cousin Teddy, who is at all these stepping events, to hey, Teddy, I used to sing Luther Vandross, a couple of Luther songs. Matter of fact, I sang about in over 100 weddings, and I swear about 60 of them I sang here and now, to be honest with you. 60% of them. So I said, Teddy, I got an idea, man. I can sing some Luther songs, so why don't you go out and find a venue, for me to perform these songs, and we'll invite a bunch of women, and the men will come because of the women, and it'd be a nice thing of reminding us of the olden days. And it might even turn into something bigger. More people might start to do it, and it might become an event where people go to see guys my age sing those songs that made them feel good. And so he said to me, Curt, that's a very good idea. However, the problem is you have to worry about the venues and their liquor license. They don't all have them, because the places he goes, those steppers would lease or rent those places for the night. And so I said, oh, no, I can't. I'm not going back into the old days where I'm going around trying to find a venue to sing and then audition, and then you got to talk the person into it, and then they tell you, maybe now we got the... I'm not going through all that. I'm too old for that. So I said, I called him back and said, Teddy, nah, man, I think that was just a notion in my head. I think that wasn't anything really. I think that's just my imagination running away with me. And he said, yeah, well, it was a good idea, Curt, but hey, I'ma still look around a little bit, And so I was like, forget that. Now I know, like I said, I know the difference between my imagination and Big Curt telling me something to do. Then all of a sudden, one night last week, I got a phone call from an ex-girlfriend of about 30 years. And I hadn't talked to her in so long, and the last time I tried to call her, it was during COVID. I was going through my book, and I was going to call everybody I know just to see how they were doing, with the whole pandemic. And this is somebody, she was one of my favorite friends. And so when I called her, I say, hey, Hi, this is Curt. How you doing? Fine. Why don't you call me back another time? I said, what? It had been 15 years since I talked to her, and it just made me realize that people are not the same people that they were back then. This is a whole nother person, and she don't even like you. I hung up the phone and I scratched off the number. I said, oh, boy. I don't know what I did to her, but obviously we ain't friends no more. So, and since that time, I've been checking off numbers for, anyway. So out of the blue, last week she called me and left a message. And that message was, Curt, CNN is doing a documentary on Luther Vandross on New Year's Day. You need to go somewhere and sing some Luther Vandross songs because I know you can sing them. And I said, whoa, this person who I thought was gone forever calls me in the middle of the night and tells me I need to go sing Luther? Now that is a big Curt thing. That is synchronicity at its best. That's the real deal. Now, when something like that happens, then I knew what I'm supposed to do. I know that's Curt talking to me. If he went and got Whitney, if he went and got Whitney, and so I called Whitney up and come to find out she was mad at me. We had a great conversation, and now I know I got to work on getting a gig so I can sing some Luther Vandross songs. The next day I called one of my promoters that I used to carry back forever. I've known him for 45 years. And I told him, he was glad I called and I told him, I said, man, they got this thing going on Luther and everything and blah, 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 man, and maybe, we need to go sing some Luther. And he was like, bam. He said, give me a minute. I'm going to work on it. I'll call you back. He called me back 2 hours later and said, okay, on the 15th of February, you're going to be doing Luther Vandross concerts in the historic Leimert Park at the Barbara Morris Theater. I said, damn. Really? Oh, okay. Oh, for real? So it's on now. So anyway, I will be performing Luther Vandross songs at the Barbara Morrison Theater on the 15th. All you real good friends of mine, I'm going to make sure you have the information. You guys come down there because now we need an audience. It should be a good time because we're gonna do the best we can anyway. So, again, that is the story of how your spirit will talk to you and your spirit will communicate with you. So, thank you guys for coming. Don't forget to like and subscribe and, tell people that I love you, whether you like it or not. And like I said, I'll let you know about that show and I'll see you next week. Thank you.
Go to Curt in Pasadena, California. Welcome to the program. Hi, Curt.
Hello. Thank you guys for having me.
Yes, sir.
Well, I am a spiritualist, which means my spirit talks to me. And we go back and forth, and we've been going back and forth since I was a child. And it will answer any questions that I have for it. Like you, George, you always ask, what is deja vu? I can explain that to you, as well as the Big Bang. Yeah.
Tell me about the Big Bang, Curt.
Well, that's kind of long. I'd rather do deja vu first.
Okay.
Deja vu is simple.
We'll do the Big Bang during an open line Friday one night.
Thank you. So anyway, the deja vu, what that is since we live in linear time, there is no such thing as something happening and you saw it before. So when you think you've seen something, you could not have seen it because it could not have happened yet. However, we do know these things happen. The reason it happens is because your spirit lives in a place like this hyperspace where the past, present, and future is the same. It knows what's going to happen, so all you're doing is catching up to what your spirit has already seen.
Yeah, right. I call that panoramic time. It's like your mind is outside of time and it can see all of time from this higher perspective.
Subscribe and push the like button.